So welcome to our webinar Wednesday. This is one of our last few episodes. Can you believe that our summit, our Success Summit, is only in a few weeks, along with the launch of our book, which is Success Through Failing, Finding Our Greatest Gifts in Our Darkest Hours. And that is coming up on February 2nd will be our book launch, and on February 4th will be the summit. So we really only have 3 more of these and we're done with our series. So we're really, really excited to have you here. Tonight is a discussion I think all of us need, okay? Especially women, right? Where we're going to talk a little bit about getting out of that trap of feeling like we have to be busy all the time and having that feeling of being overwhelmed and discouraged. And I get this all the time from women that I just don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to enjoy my life. I feel like I'm racing from one thing to another. And how do I become productive and still enjoy a business if I have a business, my family life, spirituality if that's important to me? How do I balance? Like, there's that big balance word, right? And so we're going to discuss a little bit about that tonight. And tonight I have 2 beautiful women, 2 of the authors from the book. We have Melissa Bone, and she is just an incredible friend. I met her at a conference when we were speaking together, and she talks a lot about family and finding joy in the present moment. And so I'll let her tell you a little bit more about herself in just a few minutes. But then we're also going to be talking to Lori Ann Cunningham. And I also met her on a business trip, and I instantly fell in love with her, and just there was this amazing connection. She is a music health coach, and I'll have her explain what that means in just a moment. But she talked to me when I was on that business meeting or that business trip. She was talking to me about the power of meditation. So I definitely want her to talk a little bit about meditation today, because many people that I work with, my clients say, there's no way I cannot meditate. I don't know how to. My brain is just too busy and I can't calm it down. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. So I'm going to ask you the same questions that I've asked every author on this episode to begin with. I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I want you to tell me why you decided you wanted to be a part of this book and what you define success to be right now in your life. So, Melissa, do you want to start us off?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll go for it. Okay. I'm Melissa, and I have 7 kids. I homeschool, and I'm really passionate about families. And so I created Tree of Life Families, and I love providing resources and speaking about how to have balance in families. So I'm so excited about this topic because it's something I really love. And my story about how I became interested in this book, I wasn't on board right from the beginning. My sister told me about it, and she was part of this book, and she said, "Oh, it sounds like such a great thing. You really should be part of it." And I'm like, I don't know. I've got the failing part down, but I don't know about the success, So I'm like, I'm not sure I'm embodying that success. So, I hesitated a little bit, but something inside me kind of told me, I had that inspiration that, you really should be part of this book. And so I kind of carried that, but my negative voices kept saying, nah, you're not successful enough. You haven't worked through your blocks enough. And anyway, so I went to a conference, and I met a friend there, Sabrina Redmond, if you're on, hey. But anyway, we got chatting, and she told me that she was part of this book, and she had felt inspired to talk to me about it. And I just kind of felt this burning that yeah, I needed to do this. And I would discover that, yeah, I did have success, and I didn't have to have, what some people think of success as all this money and all these grand trips and things that I discovered my success as I wrote my story. And so she was talking about the book, and I just kind of felt like I needed to be a part of it. And then another lady had overheard us talking, and she said, "No, you need to be part of that book." And I know Wendy, and so there's all these witnesses. I'm like, okay, I'll be part of the book. And I'm so glad, and there's been the ups and downs of, because going through and writing about my failures, that dredges up a lot of yuck, and so it was a little bit of a catharsis to get that out. And as I'm uncovering all my failures and how I've worked through it, it's just kind of this beautiful uncovering of who I am and what I've achieved through my failures. So it's been a beautiful process. And anyway, that's my answer.
That's great.
So thank you for the opportunity.
And you know what, Melissa, I think that is just a beautiful reminder. When I started to collaborate and put the authors together, I wanted a variety of women. I wanted some that did have that financial abundance that we see in America that defines success to many of us. That big house, the Mercedes-Benz, the trips all over the world, all of those things. But what's so interesting when you talk to those women, they say, well, what if I don't feel like I'm successful? So isn't it interesting that even when they make it, they're not really viewing it as success? Like, oh, well, I haven't made it yet. And I think so of course, those women actually aren't in the book. The women that I actually have in the book all feel good in their skin. They feel beautiful in their skin. They feel like even, one of my authors explained to me probably 2 months ago that she had $30 left in her bank account. And she wasn't sure how she was going to pay all of her bills. And she goes, but you want to know what? She goes, I am happier than I have ever been in my life right now. And I loved that answer because she felt successful, and it didn't have anything to do with money. It didn't have anything to do with financial abundance. She loved her relationships. She loved who she was. She knew what her purpose was. And so success doesn't have to be that we need to redefine that, right? We need to redefine failure too. So I love that, Melissa, that you helped us understand your process, because we have women all over the gamut in this book, and not every one of them has that financial abundance. Many of them do. And of course, Melissa, you live in a beautiful home. You've got some really beautiful things. So it's not like you don't have those things.
Right.
But getting to that point where you're like, you know what? I have a lot of success in my life, and I am successful. So I think that is a great point to drive home. So Lori-Ann, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I want you to answer those same questions.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to be here first and foremost. So thank you for having me. So it was interesting how I came to be a part of this book, because the business trip that I met Wendy on, that was where she got this idea. And, we became just fast friends. And so she would just call me out of the blue and just start rambling on about all these different ideas that she had for the book.
That's right.
What do you think about this? I'm like, that's a lot to take in, but it's sounding spectacular. And so even though I wasn't like a full part of the brainstorming process, I was able to witness how it all came together almost from the conception. And the entire time she's like, of course, I want you to be a part of the book. I want you to be a part of the book. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
That's right. It's a good thing you didn't.
I know. But I'm like, yeah. And just like Melissa, I did not understand completely what it was going to be like to tell my story and to really relive it, because as Wendy described or introduced me, I have created my business from the ground up. I'm the music health coach. There's nobody else in the entire world who calls himself that, who really does what I do. And I am a professional recording artist and musician. I have been for almost 11 years. And I am also a certified holistic health coach and a music health expert. So I combine all these different things into one kind of ball thing. And it's been a huge learning journey of carving out my own road in a mountain, my own dirt road. And there's been a lot of pitfalls. I have fallen down, and because I didn't have a good definition of success during this process, you'll read this in the book, you'll read my story of really what happened and how I very unhealthily dealt with it. Dealt with it. And it really came down to, I was feeling like a failure in everything. I'm a mom of four boys. I don't have any girls, just 4 boys. And it was a really, really tough time in my life with having a teenager at one end and then the most determined toddler I've ever had on the other end. And they were kind of going through a lot of the same things, which is really interesting. That was really interesting. But it was a really, really difficult time for me in that aspect. Some difficult things were going on in my marriage, and some things were going on with a best friend. And I was building my business from the ground up. And I felt like an absolute failure. But really, it was this process of doing some certain things, which I'm not sure, but maybe we could talk about it. Just like you mentioned meditation, I'd love to talk about that in a little bit. But really figuring out who I am and what makes me happy now. Instead of looking in the future, going, oh, I'll be happy when this happens. And, I was thrown into this online world of, 6 figures, making 6 figures in your business, 7 figures. And I made 6 figures in 3 months. I'm like, well, I'm nowhere near that. And so I was feeling like a complete failure, and I wasn't ready for all of this stuff being thrown at me. But really redefining what success what it meant and what it means to me, like getting a 30-second hug from my 16-year-old, like that's a pretty big deal. He's just like, oh mom, I love you. I'm like, that is so sweet. I feel like I'm a successful mother because of how much my children love me. And also really being me. Like through this process of meeting Wendy, I have owned like something so simple, but it actually means a really big deal. Like for the past 10 years, I have gone under the name Lori Cunningham on my business, but my name is Lori Ann. And so just owning my name, like who I am, that has been successful to me. I feel like that I have opened up a door, and I can really be myself. And I guess that's a big thing for me, like just truly being who I am, has been a way to help me redefine what success really is.
I love that. Oh, you guys are so inspirational to me. I'm wanting to dive right into some of this information because I need to understand more about how I can have more balance in my own life. I'm going to be totally honest with all of you guys. I do a pretty good job primarily of being in balance for the most part. But when I took this project on, when I decided I was going to take the book on and the summit and the membership site and all of these things, and just so you guys know, when you're dealing with 25 successful, influential women, it is like herding cats. Come on. No, don't go away. Come over here. It is really, it has been such an incredible journey, but very, very challenging. And as a result, I've worked more hours than I probably have ever worked in my life. And it's been beautiful, and I have learned so much. And there are times in my life, I keep saying this to myself, it's okay, because you can do that for a short amount of time. However, it's got to come back into balance again, right? And so I am excited to hear from you all about why do we get into that trap of getting overscheduled and overbusy and overcommitted? Because I think as women, we tend to do that. What is the reason we do that? And then do you have some ideas of how we can get more balanced and more present and more okay with just being instead of always constantly going? So Melissa, do you want to try and answer some of those questions? I know I threw a lot at you. So if you forget some of those things, I'll remind you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Definitely. You know, I've gone through a little bit of the busyness in a different way. We just moved this big move after being in a place for 11 years. So a big move and the book project and the coaching and a lot of things going on in my life, getting the missionary ready. And I did fall in this trap of like, I'm just putting out fires all the time and I'm going from one thing to the next thing. And I think what happens is we tend to forget our priorities. We kind of just get in this mode of doing. And I think for me, I know that I need to make sure that I'm in line with my priorities. I need to write down what my priorities are. You know, I make sure that I'm nourishing my spirit. I'm taking care of my family and my husband. And I know that sometimes we feel out of balance because we're not putting the attention and focus into the things that are really important. So I need to sit down every day and just say, okay, you know, I've got to spend a lot of time working on this book project, but I need to make sure that I schedule time to spend totally focused on my kids. Because now this is kind of funny because I was getting in this mode of just going and going, and the thing that was going out the window was my health. And that's definitely one of my priorities, and I'm dragging along. And so we've been eating out and easy, you know, frozen lasagnas and whatever. And so my husband, his family does this thing at Christmas where for a gift we give each other, we get a recipe together and we give an ingredient of our favorite recipe that we've made lately. And so I'm asking my kids, I said, okay, so what's your favorite recipe that we've made lately? And they just all had this stunned look like, recipe? The recipe, you know, because we hadn't taken that time. We've been too busy to cook. And so they're like, well, let's see, we ate at Wendy's, and let's see, we got a frozen lasagna, and we used to cook all the time. We did Bones Bakery, you know, we did a lot of cooking, but I've gotten so busy that my priority of health was getting neglected. And then there were days when my kids were getting neglected because I was busy in my room and getting ready for, you know, a business thing that I was doing. And so I think the key is just to really get present on your priorities each day and set an intention for each priority. So set an intention of what you're going to do to build your relationship with your husband, with your kids, in your health, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's one thing. I think if we're staying aligned with our priorities, then that helps us kind of calm down a little bit. And we know that we're doing something each day with our priorities. So that's kind of my answer on how I stay kind of grounded. And also as you're aligning with your priorities, then it's easier to say no to things because you know that you need that time for those priorities. So anyway, that's my 2 bits there.
That's great. It reminds me, I in most of my scheduling classes that I've taken over time, they say that very thing because I've worked in real estate for quite a while, and you can work 24 hours, 7 days a week in real estate. It's very, very easy to get caught up in that. But I have some wise teachers that have said exactly what you said. Before you even put one work thing on your schedule, you schedule your family time, you schedule your dates, you schedule your time with your family. And when someone says, hey, can I go see a house? You say, oh, I can't tonight because I have an appointment. It's an appointment with your family. It's an appointment with your husband, right? But I have an appointment A, B, or C, right? And so when we make sure that our priorities are listed first, right, then we're feeling a little more imbalanced. So I think that is a great reminder to absolutely do those things first, because we can get caught up really quickly in those other things when really I think most of us feel like our relationships are the most important things in our lives. However, many times they take the back seat, especially when we're trying to create a business or we're trying to do something big in our life. They seem to take second fiddle, right? Mm-hmm. And yet that's the whole reason why we're doing this and we're going for it, is to create a better life for our family. So, I thank you so much, Melissa. How about you, Lorianne? Why do we do this to ourselves, and what can we do? What's some advice that you can share with us to get us back to where we need to be?
Yeah. So I am going to offer a different perspective, especially on the word balance. Okay. Because I feel that it's actually impossible to be in balance. I mean, we have different phases in our lives, different cycles in our lives. And so as a musician, I'm going to offer something else to think of. I like to think of it as being in harmony. So think of like an orchestra where you have different parts of the orchestra that are taking the forefront. Like they have like the violins, they have the melody, and then the oboes take over and the violins come back. And then, like you have this harmonious give and take. And our lives are really like that. Health-wise, some things come up if our bodies are not in harmony with what's going on in and out. So when I think of being in balance, I think more of being in harmony and what is the cycle of my life right now. And that's a really big part of it too, is where, like, say I have a big project, like this month of January is a really busy month for me. And I actually had just I have an accountability group, and I talked to them just 2 days ago, which is so ironic that I saw what this webinar was going to be about. I was talking to them about, okay, how do I stop sprinting and then crashing? And, it's like more like, a marathon. How do I pace myself a little bit more? And, we just talked and brainstormed about that, and like what areas, like really, if you have something that needs to take the forefront, that takes the melody of your life, what areas do you not have to be 100%? Because within that orchestra, you don't have everything playing 100%. Sometimes you have instruments that they're just in their laps for a certain amount of time. And so like, what can you let go of? What can only be like 50% for that time until that melody is done, and then other parts can pick back up. Mm-hmm. So you really think of it as a cycle instead of like you have to do everything. And we live in a society where it's very masculine based, and that femininity needs to come back in of just being and really being able to release and just breathing. That's something that I really love to do is taking some deep breaths. As a singer, I really concentrate on my breathing. Meditation has been a huge thing for me. And it's not one of those, I don't sit there for an hour and just like, oh no, I can't handle that. I can't do it. I started out, and I still do this sometimes, just 5 minutes a day. I lay down. I like to lay down when I meditate. I also do sometimes guided meditations or guided affirmations. So it's not like I don't try to completely still my brain. I actually, that's a time that I ponder and contemplate. And to me, that's a meditation. And it's just, again, defining what it is that you need. I have a very, very, very busy brain too. So for me, that is slowing down. I absolutely love what Melissa talked about with defining your priorities, and I review them on a very regular basis as well. I review them every day, set my intentions for the day. As far as success is concerned, I do a celebration journal type of thing, like just really quick in my planner. It could be like 1 thing, 5 things, whatever. Just I celebrate what happened in the day, and that helps me feel successful. But one thing that I did a while ago is I did an exercise where I really found my core values. And that has helped me prioritize. Because if something doesn't align with my core values, then I know I need to let it go. And I try to do things. One of my core values is joy. And I really try to do things that really bring me joy, not just happiness in the moment, just like a deeper joy. Mm-hmm. Another one for me is creating. I'm a creator. And so I try now every day that I possibly can, I spend at least 15 minutes doing something that fills me first thing in the morning, like after everyone's off doing their stuff for the day, you know, at school, whatever, I do 15 minutes of some sort of music, because creating is a huge part of me. Either I play the piano, or I record, or I just sing, I vocalize, you know, I just do something that is creative. And so I found that that fills my cup. You know, 15 minutes a day, sometimes it might not seem like it's enough, but at least I get that 15 minutes. You know, that's made a huge, huge difference. And that leads right into, you know, I bookend my days. I have a system that I basically schedule, whatever, that I do first thing in the morning. You know, it is meditation. I like to journal and write. I exercise. When I get ready for the day, I listen to scriptures or talks from the leaders of the church that I'm a part of. And that feeds me. So I find that, you know, I'm doing something physical for myself. I'm stilling my mind and setting what I'm doing for the day, and I'm feeding myself spiritually, and then I'm feeding myself creatively after everyone's out the door. Those things have really made a huge difference with creating more harmony in my life. I'm like I was like writing down, looking at my notes. I'm like, what else? I know there was something else I wanted to talk about, but you know, we don't have to be busy all the time. Oh, and one more thing. This is what I want to talk about. I really try to only have 3 main things that I do during the day, instead of having this to-do list like here, clear down to here. You know, it's like 3 main things. And then if there's a couple other things I can maybe slip in, it's okay. But it's okay if I don't get them done as well. And then I feel more successful, because I'm like, look what I did. Instead of looking at this list and only 3 things are checked off and there's 20 things, I try to, you know, I'm like, look, I achieved everything on my list today, instead of just really looking at it going, oh my goodness, I didn't do anything. But it was like the same thing. It's the same thing. So that's something that I really have worked very consciously and very hard on, is trying not to overschedule myself, because I get stressed out and overwhelmed incredibly easy. And I don't want to slip back into my old patterns, which I talk about in the book, of what happened when I was in that way overwhelmed state.
Those were beautiful. There's so many
great
nuggets of information you both have shared with us. And, you know, it reminds me, I love how we can all find that groove of where we can quiet our mind. You talked about some really incredible, impactful ways to start the morning. And I really feel like that morning time really is critical and crucial to creating a place where we are in a better space to adapt as things are being thrown at us during the day. I know for me, when I start my day off, and I say this a lot, but it's absolutely changed my life, in that space of gratitude in the morning. That is the biggest piece that I have first thing in the morning, is that I start my day off in gratitude. And for me, rather than laying down, like you said, and being in that space, for me, the most effective thing is to have music on. And then I actually type, because I'm a very fast typist. I actually type my journal, and I type what I'm grateful for. And as soon as I'm in that space, then I say, what one thing can I do today to increase my business? What one thing can I do to improve my family relationships? You know, and so again, they're down to those 3 things, right? That you're, you know, what one way can I increase my spirituality, whatever it is for me. And then I just take note of what those inspiration, you know, pieces are coming into my mind. And from there, those are my priorities. I'll get busy with other things. And, you know, I typically have this squirrel syndrome, so I'll go in other places. But for the most part, you know, and then nothing is such a sense of urgency. Sometimes we get to the place where we're so overwhelmed because everything is a catastrophe, right? If we don't get this done, it's gonna destroy my child. They're not gonna get a scholarship to college if they don't go to dance today or whatever it is. So sometimes we can get into that. But anyways, I appreciate you giving that information, because I think we can take that meditation or gratitude, or, and Melissa's scheduling, making sure that we get those priorities down. I just love it. Now I want to go back to Melissa, and I want to talk to you in regards to sharing. If someone were to come to you today and say, Melissa, I want to know how you have created this atmosphere of success in your life. What one piece of advice or golden nugget or secret sauce can you give to the people who are listening to this or will be watching the recording? What one thing that can you give to that person? And I'm seeing chats coming in. Oh, okay. You're chatting back and forth. So we're good. Okay. Awesome. Can you share with us, Melissa, what your thought is there?
Yes. My thought is to, like I talked about earlier, get in alignment. And when you get in alignment with what you're supposed to do, seek that inspiration, and then you act on it. That's to me a success. It's just inspiration, acting, and that doesn't mean it's going to be smooth by any means when we're acting out, because a lot of times challenges are going to come to block us from where we're supposed to go. We'll get this great idea, we know we're supposed to do it, and then we'll come along and there's this block and these challenges that come to thwart us, and just learning to get over those blocks and just not giving up and not seeing these blocks as failures. A lot of times we'll get to a block and say, that's a failure, but really it's a growth opportunity. It's to help us stretch ourselves so that we can move up to that success. So that's I guess my one thing. I don't know if that's one thing, but my secret sauce. So, yeah.
Love that. So utilizing inspiration in your day, and that you find success when you act on those things and you just keep moving forward. And I love that we are in this book redefining failure. I believe that failure is the F word in America, and that we sometimes will discourage ourselves from even trying because we're so afraid that we're going to fail, or we start a process and we hit a wall really quickly, right? Which we will. If we're going to go for something big, we're going to hit an obstacle, and sometimes we'll talk ourselves right out of the very thing that we want in our life, because we go, oh, well, maybe that wasn't the right thing, or maybe I'm not cut out for it, or whatever. And so if you're really truly utilizing inspiration, though, right, we know we're gonna hit those obstacles, and it's just like, oh, we expected you, we see that you're here. Now I get a growth opportunity to figure out, how do I get to the next level? How do I get over this? Right? So thank you so much. Lorianne, your secret sauce.
Yeah. Okay. My secret sauce, I really try to take the time to celebrate my little successes that I do. Such as on Tuesday, I guess it was just yesterday. Oh my goodness, it's just yesterday. I finished the training for the Chrysalis Network, which is a part of this entire book and project and everything else we're doing. And instead of going, okay, what else do I need to do? Like, I took some step back. No one else was home, and I'm like, I finished, yes! And, I was celebrating, and I felt so good. And I got into my pajamas, like, you know what, I'm just gonna watch a little bit of Netflix for just a minute, because that's I love to just celebrate that way, just kind of take a chill. I'm an introvert, so I don't know if you knew that, Wendy, but yeah, I'm definitely, yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm like, I just want to be in my pajamas, my warm, comfy, cozy pajamas, and just be by myself for a little while. I'm like, oh, this feels so good. It was recharging for me. And so, just celebrating. And I really made a very conscious effort to celebrate that instead of looking at what else was on my list and just keep on going. Because when the kids are gone, like that's my work time. I'm like, I work. But yeah, I definitely think that celebrating every single little step of the way, even if it's, I got out of bed today. Like, oh, I got out of bed. I got dressed. That's awesome.
No, I am telling you, when you're an entrepreneur, is that not a success? Let me tell you, because there are so many days that at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm like, I am still in my yoga clothes and I don't even have a speck of makeup on. My hair is not done. And, it is what it is. And actually, that's one of the beauties of being able to work from home. I love that part. But no sooner does that happen than I get someone saying, hey, can we do a Zoom call right now? Can I have a strategy session? I'm like, yeah, let me put a little lipstick on. Okay, we're good. We're good. So, I just love all this information, and I really feel renewed. I'm hoping that the people that are on this call and the people that are listening to this recording really feel what I am feeling right now, which is, wow, I can get clarity on my life and I don't have to be so busy. I can celebrate along the way. I can congratulate myself on my successes, and I don't have to be so hard on myself. I think sometimes that's why we get so discouraged and overwhelmed, is because we don't celebrate and we don't go, you know what? You're doing a dang good job, Mom. You're doing a dang good job at trying to do all of this. And that fact, that idea of harmony, that things don't have to be in balance all the time, right? I love that. And you're right. If we think of an orchestra, if everything played at the same time, it'd sound terrible, right? And my prioritizing is going to get better, Melissa. So, and delegating. I'm going to get better, as I've been doing all of these projects at the same time, it's been a challenge to find people to delegate certain things, but it's been crucial because you can't do it all yourself, right? So I guess the last thing I want to ask, Melissa, if someone wanted to get in touch with you about balance, about finding joy in their family, about finding how to get help in that area. You have 7 kids. And so you know what it's like to have a busy family and also be an entrepreneur and a mom. And how would they get in touch with you?
They could go to my website, treeoflifefamilies.com. And that's probably the best way right now. And we're still going through some updates right now, but we're getting it live. We're beefing it up for this big conference. So that's probably the best way, is to get on the website. So yeah.
Okay, fantastic. How about you, Lorianne? How, if they wanted to get in touch with you, I noticed that some people were reaching out for your meditations, your guided meditations, and just reaching out to you. How are they going to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can go to my website as well. It's musichealthcoach.com. In the chat, I gave her I think it was Stephanie, I gave her my email. It's Lori, Lori, at musichealthcoach.com. I set that up back before I owned my full name for my business. Yeah, but Lori at musichealthcoach.com. I am all over Facebook. I mean, you can even shoot me a personal message, send me a friend request. I'm on there. My business page is on there. I answer the messages all the time. Yeah. So Facebook, email, or there's a contact form on my website, musichealthcoach.com.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up, but I just want to mention a couple of things before we leave. The first thing is that you do not want to miss the Success Summit. That is coming on February 4th. And so our book, Success Through Failing, Finding Our Greatest Gifts in Our Darkest Hours, is going to give you the inspiration, the courage, the faith to see that you can do it, just like all of these 25 women, right? So that's going to, but we want to take it a step farther with the Success Summit and teach you the skill set and the mindset of creating success in your life. There's going to be a general session where we're going to be celebrating the book. We're going to be talking about the humanitarian efforts. 25% of the proceeds are going to 2 organizations, 100 Humanitarians and Days for Girls, to help families in Africa. And we have 2 Kenyan authors, and their stories are remarkable. So you'll want to make sure that you listen for those. But where the book is giving that, the Success Summit is giving that really good content of how to do it. So now you've got your heart's in the right place. You're finding your why. Now we're going to show you how to do it, okay? And that's what happens at the Success Summit. It's February 4th, Sandy, Utah. Right now you can get tickets for 30% off. They're normally $39, and it comes with a Kindle formatted copy of the book that comes along with that ticket. But if you use 100 humanitarians, make sure the H is capitalized and it's all smushed together, or Days for Girls, capital D, all smushed together, and those promo codes will give you 30% off. If you are outside of Utah and you want to participate in the general session, we're going to have the general session live streamed, so you can get those tickets right now with the code for $7. I mean, that's crazy, right? You can do that. Anybody can do that. So I would invite you to go to our website. Oh yeah, let me type it. 100 humanitarians. Actually, let's see, I can do that. I'm going to have, can you do Days for Girls, Lorianne? Okay, so between those codes, you can get that. To get the tickets, you go to summit.successthroughfailing.com. That's how you get the tickets, okay? And we invite your friends. This is going to be a huge celebration. We've got some incredible artists that are going to entertain us. Lorianne has some music that she has produced herself that will be launched at this event, and you all get to hear it. It's incredibly beautiful. She's branded our book, and I get tears in my eyes just thinking about it. It's so beautiful. We're all going to be speaking at breakout sessions. Mine is going to be Critical to Confident. We have leadership. We have, my brain made me do it is one of the topics. We have grief and loss support. We have just so many beautiful topics. The other thing that's really exciting this week, you're going to start seeing on Facebook, most likely, the fact that our book is going to be available for pre-sales on Friday afternoon. It's going to start, and people can start purchasing it. So I'm so excited. This is just, to see this all coming together is just absolutely unbelievable to me. And it couldn't have been done without these 24 other incredibly talented women, such as Melissa and Lorianne. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for being here live. I promised that I would give something away tonight. I always give something away. So I'm going to give a bottle of one of my favorite oils that just brings me joy, and that's the Wild Orange from doTERRA. And so the person who can answer this question is going to be able to get it first. So get your little chats out there. You're going to have to chat in the box. If you're on your phone, I think you can still chat in there, at least I hope. The first person who can answer, how did Lorianne describe balance? There was a different word she used. Anybody? Stephanie, you were so fast. Okay, so Stephanie, you need to email me your address or message me on Facebook. It doesn't matter. My email is wendy@fromcriticaltoconfident.com. So you can reply to your Zoom too, because I think your Zoom invitation had my email. So however you want to do that. So I'll get that to you. And Stephanie, if you're coming to the summit, I can just bring it to you there too. So whatever. Anyways, yeah, there you go. All right. Thanks so much for everybody attending. Love you all. And you'll be hearing about the book, and hope to see you all at the summit. All right. Bye, guys.